This video is sponsored by Overtime Heroics, made by the fans, for the fans. A 2-game series, and both teams come into it 2-3 on the season, with the Monarchs in early position for the 4th playoff spot in the Valiant Conference. Both desperately want to create space between the other and get back to 500 baseball. This is the first in a 5-game homestand for the Widows, where they'll welcome the Pythons and Justice after the set with the Monarchs. Chloe Nightingale has taken up some CrossFit training and it's paid off so far. In practice, it seems like she's seeing the ball better and putting it into play more often. Plus, she's even commented that she feels just a tiny bit faster than before she started. Let's see how this impacts the play of the 25-year-old third baseman. In Game 1, Vika Ivanova gets to start with her 1.5 ERA, facing off against Tobias Vanderbilt of the Monarchs, who has struggled in the early goings with a 13.5 ERA and a loss on the season. Carla Pontarelli returns behind the plate for the Widows, so expect a boost for this team with her presence back in the lineup. We're gonna start this one in the bottom of the 5th. The Widows have been held hitless so far, while the Monarchs have 4 to this point. Rose Davenport gets the first hit, driving the first pitch she sees, past the diving shortstop into center. Then Carla Pontarelli steps up for her second at-bat of the night, and she struggled at the plate to start this season. She turns this game around, and possibly her slow start, as she hammers the 3-1 pitch out into left center over the wall for a home run. The 427-foot shot is her first of the season, giving her 2 RBIs and putting the Widows on the board first. We know Vika can swing the bat as a pitcher, and she sends the first pitch of her at-bat deep into center field off the wall. Baxter's throw is not in time, and Ivanova has a double. Yao Ling then takes the 3-1 pitch of her at-bat and lines it into center for a single. Chloe Nightingale follows it up, taking this pitch in the deep left field towards the short fence, but it dies at the track as Allegra St. Clair makes the catch for out number 2, as Ivanova tags up and makes it 3-0 as we head to the top of the 6th. Ivanova's night would end in the top of the 7th. She gets her ERA down to .75 and ends her night with 6 strikeouts. They would go to Fonrebai out of the pen, and in the top of the 8th, the Monarchs offense would get started on a drop third strike. The slider gets away from Pontarelli behind the plate, and they have a runner on. Christopher Ponsonby gives the 1-0 pitch a ride into left center. Yao Ling goes up for it and catches it off the wall. I don't think she realizes she had it though, because the first run comes across and Ponsonby gets himself a triple as the throw home is way late. Byron Baxter is then robbed of a hit by Chloe Nightingale as she dives third base side and gets the first out of the inning, as well as holds the runner. Clarissa Wellington picks up her 3rd RBI of the season as a soft line drive gets by Davenport at first and cuts the Widow lead to 1. It's 3-2 now as the Widows look to respond in their half of the 8th. The Widows would bring in Gossie Colbert to pinch hit for Ribeye to begin the inning to face new pitcher for the Monarchs, Willoughby Paxton. She would have her base hit robbed by Belleville over at second as he makes the diving stop and fires the first in time. Ling would single as Belleville again makes a marvelous play, but this time he can't get the out as Ling is just too fast down the line. She would steal second, but De La Cruz would strike out to end the inning. Top 9 and Jane Sappho enters looking for the 1-run save. It would not start off well as Calypso Wellington hits a line drive into left field and Crush just misplays this one, completely diving unnecessarily, turning it out into a double for Wellington. Sappho walks Belleville to bring up Alistair Humphreys and he grounds to second. They get the first out, but the throw back to first sails into the crowd out of play. The runner on third would come home as a result, and the game is tied, so that is a blown save. Jago Godfrey comes off the bench to pinch hit, and he singles into left, so runners in the corners for Christopher Ponsonby with 1 out. Jane gets him to fly out De La Cruz at second, then Baxter grounds out as Sappho throws him out, and we have our first extra inning game for the Widows this season. Let's move to the top of the 12th, still tied at 3, and Donisha Moss is on the mound for the Widows. Clarissa Covington singles into second, as Fatima can't get there in time for the diving stop with 1 out. The hit and run works as St. Clair grounds out to first to bring up Archibald Fitzgerald. He then hits a blooper into center, and it's perfectly placed as Lang's throw is just a second too late, so the Monarchs take the 4-3 lead. Widows get their chance to respond in their half of the 12th, and Crush Gonzalez pops out to second to begin the inning. Lilith Nightingale strikes out as Blakesley is looking to pick up the save, and it's all up to Rose Davenport. She would fly out to left, and the Widows lose their second in a row. First in this series to the Monarchs 4-3. Vika Ivanova, Clarissa Covington, and Carla Pontarelli are the 3 stars in this game. Looking at the standings ahead of Game 2 between the Widows and Monarchs, it's the Monarchs tied for third with the Dragons both at 3-3, while our Widows are tied with the Battlehawks at 2-4. Carla Pontarelli was asked about what she had been doing during her recovery process, and she says she'd switched up her eating habits and went on a vegan diet. This, she says, has her feeling faster, she's able to feel better, and her arm she feels like has gotten a bit stronger as well. In Game 2 of the series, Audrey Messier returns to action as she's been cleared by the doctors to take the mound for the Widows. She's going up against Tatiana Valentina Smith as she takes the bump for the Monarchs. The changes to the Widow lineup in this game include Lilith Nightingale getting the day off, replaced by Agassi Colbert. Colbert will play second and bat ninth, while De La Cruz moves over to shortstop and Jennifer Marks moves up to 8 in the order. Audrey starts her night on the mound facing Byron Baxter. She gets in the line out to third. Second batter is Clarissa Covington, and despite her being locked in at the plate, she goes down on strike, swinging over the curveball from Messier for out number 2. The top of the inning ends as Archibald Fitzgerald grounds out to first. Yao Ling would fly out to left for out number 1. Then Chloe Nightingale goes down looking at strike 3 for the second out of the inning. De La Cruz is unable to keep the inning going as she grounds out to second for the final out in inning number 1. 2 outs in the bottom of the second, and Rose Davenport takes the pitch right back up the middle for a single. Jennifer Marks then softly hits a single in the right field, and Rose goes from first to third, so the Widows have a chance now to strike first. Agassi Colbert gets her first RBI of the campaign, singling up the middle into center as the Widows get on the board first. Audrey Messier gets herself on base as she lines this one into center to load the bases with 2 outs and the top of the order back up. Ling sends the 1-2 into left, but it's too high as it finds the glove of Allegra St. Clair as the second inning ends with the Widows ahead by 1. Bottom of the third begins with the Chloe Nightingale walk as Tatiana's accuracy is all over the place. She bounces back, getting Fatima to check the third strike of the at-bat, and she goes back to the dugout for Valentina Smith's second strikeout of the night. Crush Gonzalez hits a single into center, so 2 on, 1 out for Carla Pontarelli. She smacks the first pitch she sees opposite field into left. Over Fitzgerald, he can't make the play. It rolls to the wall, and Pontarelli has herself a RBI double, and it's now a 2-0 lead for the Widows. The second out comes on a Rose Davenport ground out to second, but she does pick up a RBI as Gonzalez scores from third to make it a 3-run lead. Jennifer Marks would pop out to Wellington at shortstop to end the third. Top 4, 1 out, and Allegra St. Clair digs in. She singles into right, ripping it over the diving Colbert at second. The hit and run attempt from the Monarchs fails this time, as Widows pitch out correctly, guessing the steal from St. Clair. Colbert runs her back to first and puts the tag on for the second out. Ponsonby ends up grounding out to Messier as the fans breathe a sigh of relief for her, and the top of the 4th inning comes to a close. Bottom 5, Widows looking to continue to thrive as Chloe Nightingale singles into center for her first hit of the game. De La Cruz gets a bunt that looks to be trouble at first as it hangs in the air, Luckily, it falls down to allow Nightingale to move up to second on the sacrifice attempt. Gonzalez now already with the single in this one, draws a walk in her at-bat to bring up Pontarelli. She lines a base hit up the middle and the bases are loaded for Rose Davenport. She's been a thorn in the side of the Monarchs pitching staff, and she singles for her second hit of the night and 2 more RBIs as the lead blows up to 5. Pontarelli gets thrown out trying to move to third on a pass ball, and Jennifer Marks flies out, putting a cap on the inning. Top 7 and Messier is pitching really well in this one. A great night continued as she strikes out Fitzgerald to begin things. She walks Allegra St. Clair, and just like that, there's some discussion in the Widows dugout as pitchers get moving in bullpen. Ponsonby hits a ball over Colbert into right field as he gets on board with the single, and St. Clair gets over to third. Calypso Wellington now drives the changeup to right field and it stays in the park as Marks gloves it for the out, but Allegra scores from third. Barnaby Belleville III comes up and he works the count full and then gets on base with a walk. Rufus McCormick loops the 0-2 into right and it gets down as the second run of the inning comes across. That would do it though for Messier's night as the Widows go to the bullpen to get Jackie Brooks to face the Monarchs pinch hitter Roman Claymore. Claymore hits a ball to second. Colbert dives, but it gets away from her glove as she has trouble finding the ball, however, and in the confusion, the third run of the inning comes across. Manager Soriano is livid from the dugout. The inning luckily comes to a close as Baxter grounds out to third, but the Monarchs are right back in this game, trailing by 2. Top of the 9th, Widows lead 5-3, and Jane Sappho comes in to close this one out after blowing the save last night. First batter she faces Christopher Ponsonby, and he singles into right. Marks traps the ball as she slides in to field it. Calypso Wellington flies out as Marks ranges over to make the catch for out number 1. Belleville lifts the 1-1 to right, but again, Jennifer is there for the second out. It all rides on Rufus McCormick, but he strikes out waving at the curveball to end the game. The Widows split the series with the Monarchs 1-1 as Jane Sappho picks up her second save of the season and Messier gets her first win. Rose Davenport, Crush Gonzalez, and Carla Pontarelli are the 3 stars in this game. The Widows are now 3-4 on the season and will face the 4-3 Pythons in the next game, as there is now a 4-way tie for third place in the Valiant Conference between the Battlehawks, Dragons, Monarchs, and Widows. Sally Slow Pitch will start for the Widows and the Pythons will start Piper Patterson. Alright you guys, that's going to do it for me for this video. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all. You are going to see some league leaders scrolling through in the background here while I get through the outro portion of the video. I have a new mic. If you haven't noticed, I'm liking it so far. This is the first video I've recorded with this, so let me know what you guys think. But while you're doing all that stuff though, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you have not already, hit the bell to get notified when videos go live for you. And until Monday, you guys, because I'm recording this on this Monday, yeah. Until Monday, you guys, you know what to do. Keep on shining and keep on grinding. I will see you all in the next one.